Please be seated. The acting Vice Chancellor, Professor Adekunle Olanrewaju Adeogun, the Deputy Vice Chancellor Academics, Professor Rotimi Owetu, the Bursar of the University, Mr. Kabir Kayode Ogunleye, FCA, University Librarian, Professor Adebambo Adewale Oduwole, members of the University Governing Council, visiting Vice Chancellors, former principal officers of the University, the Provost, Deans of Colleges and Student Affairs, members of the University Senate, Directors of Centers and Institutes, Your Royal Highnesses, Heads of Teaching and Non-Teaching Departments, my Lord Spiritual and Temporal, families of the inaugural lecture presenter, gentlemen of the press, distinguished staff, students, ladies and gentlemen. I, on behalf of the management and the university community, welcome our guests to the TASUED University of Education, Federal University of Education, Ijagun Ijebu-Ode, in Ogun State, Nigeria, the premier, the foremost, and the preferred University of Education in Nigeria, the pride of the nation. Today, the university is having its 38th inaugural lecture titled Liberating Language Education for Limitless Language, Driven Careers, from Chalkboard, classroom confinement to corporate communication catalyst, to be delivered by Professor Olaiton Olayemi Mabekoje, Professor of Language Education and Applied Linguistics in the College of Humanities, Department of English Study. Professor Mabekoje, a distinguished scholar, is the head of Department of English Study in the university. Today's event, ladies and gentlemen, is an occasion of significance in the academic career of Professor Olaiton Olayemi Mabekoje on his appointment to the full professorial chair in the university. Here I have the honor to invite the acting vice chancellor of the university, Professor Adekunle Ibanrewaju Adeokun, to please declare this ceremony open.
I, Professor Adekunle Ibanrewaju Adeokun, hereby declare 38th inaugural lecture open. Thank you.
The acting vice chancellor, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, and I invite our inaugural lecture presenter, Professor Olaiton Olayemi Mabekoje, to please rise and remain standing for the presentation of the citation.
Principal officers of the University, Vice Chancellor, Principal officers of the University, Deans of Faculties and Postgraduate School, Heads of Department, distinguished academic and administrative colleagues, esteemed students, ladies and gentlemen. It is my distinct honor and privilege to present to you the citation of our inaugural lecturer for today, a scholar who has dedicated his life to the meticulous study of the very tool I am using now, language. Professor Olaiton Olayemi Mabekoje, born in the early 1960s, his life story began in a home where knowledge was the most prized possession. As the son of two esteemed educators, the late Chief George Mabekoje and Chief Mrs. Regina Mabekoje, his early years were a journey across Ijebuland, attending various primary and secondary schools. This nomadic childhood, dictated by his parents' postings, didn't disrupt his learning. Rather, it laid the foundation for a brilliant academic career by exposing him to the rich diversity of his culture. This foundation led him to higher learning, first at the Ogun State College of Education, Ijagun. His quest for excellence then took him to the University of Calabar, where he distinguished himself by graduating with a second-class upper honors in English and Literary Studies, earning the prestigious Chinua Achebe Prize for the best graduating student. Not one to rest on his laurels, he proceeded to the University of Ibadan, the premier university for his postgraduate studies. There, he earned his Master of Education, Master of Philosophy, and ultimately his PhD in Language Education, specializing in the intricate fields of grammar pedagogy and applied linguistics. Before his ascension to the university, Professor Mabekoje was a committed classroom teacher, rising to become the head of department at Luba Comprehensive Secondary School. This practical experience informed his future scholarship. In 1996, he formally entered the university system, joining the then Tai Solarin College of Education as an assistant lecturer. Through unwavering dedication and sheer intellectual vigor, he climbed every rung of the academic ladder. He became a senior lecturer in 2007, an associate professor in 2016, and in 2019, he was appointed a full professor of English education and applied linguistics. Within these hallowed halls, Professor Mabekoje's service has been as extensive as his scholarship. He has served as head of his unit, Subdean of Postgraduate College, Director of Transport Services, and Coordinator of Postgraduate Programs. He serves as the head of the Department of English and he is a statutory member of the University's Senate. His commitment to academic documentation is evident in his editorial work on numerous journals, student handbooks, and books of readings. This dedication has not gone unnoticed, earning him accolades such as the best English teacher for Ijebode in 1992, the most distinguished lecturer in 2013, and an award for academic excellence in 2015. Professor Mabekoje's intellectual influence, however, stretches far beyond the boundaries of this institution. He is a member of prestigious global bodies, including the Linguistic Society of America and the American Association of Applied Linguistics, as well as local bodies like the Nigeria English Studies Association. His scholarship is prolific and impactful, with over 87 publications to his name, including acclaimed books like Understanding English Grammar and Practical English Grammar, which have shaped the minds of countless students. But perhaps his greatest legacy lies in his mentorship. He has an unparalleled dedication to nurturing the next generation of scholars. He has served as an external examiner to 42 doctoral candidates across Nigeria. He has been a visiting lecturer at universities such as Ibadan and Lagos State University. The numbers are staggering. He has supervised over 300 postgraduate theses and dissertations and nearly 300 undergraduate projects. He has quite literally built a lineage of scholars. Beyond the university walls, Professor Mabekoje is a respected community leader and socialite, a member of the prestigious Ijebode Club, where he was named Clubman of the Year in 2019, and the Ikoyi Club 1938. His humility and philanthropy have earned him the deep respect of his community, leading to his chieftaincy title as the Olomo of Okeagbo, Ijebu in 2010. His life is also anchored by a deep and abiding faith. As a devout Christian, he has served the African Church diligently. In 2023, he was honored as the Balogun Ijo of the Cathedral of St. John, and just last year, in 2025, his piety and leadership were further recognized as he was elected the vice lay president of the African Church, Ijebu North Diocese. Amidst all these achievements, he remains a devoted family man, happily married to his patron, Mrs. Oluwafunmi Mabekoje, herself a distinguished linguist. Together, they have built a home filled with love, faith, and purpose, blessed with wonderful children. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Professor Mabekoje is more than a grammarian. He is an architect of mind. His life's work has been to liberate language education from the confines of the traditional classroom, showing us that the power of words is a catalyst for limitless possibilities. It stands before us as a testament to resilience, excellence, and to the transformative power of language. It is therefore my singular honor and privilege to present to you a renowned linguist and outstanding scholar, a mentor of mentors, and our inaugural lecturer for today. Ladies and gentlemen, please make welcome Professor Olaitan Olayemi Mabekoje.
Permit me to invite Professor Olaitan Olayemi Mabekoje
Principal
to deliver his 38th inaugural lecture. Happy listening.
The acting Vice Chancellor and Chairman, sir, the Deputy Vice Chancellor, the University Registrar, the University Bursar, the University Librarian, members of University Senate here present, Provost of the Postgraduate College, Deans of Colleges, academic and non-academic directors, His Royal Highnesses, my most spiritual and temporal, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, great TASUED, I stand before you today, first and foremost, with deep humility and profound gratitude to deliver this inaugural lecture, a moment that represents not only an important rite of passage in the life of our academics, but also a defining milestone in my own scholarly journey. In keeping with the long-established tradition of inaugural lectures in our university, this occasion affords me the opportunity not merely to articulate my intellectual convictions, but also to locate my scholarship within the contours of lived experience. Accordingly, and quite deliberately, I have chosen a theme that is at once autobiographical and scholarly, liberating language education from limitless language-driven careers, from Chalkboard confinement to corporate communication catalyst. Through this lecture, therefore, I interrogate prevailing assumptions about language education, critically examine its limitations, and ultimately propose a reconceptualization that responds meaningfully to contemporary socio-economic realities. Generally speaking, teaching is widely regarded as one of the most rewarding professions. Beyond the immediate task of classroom instruction, it offers the rare privilege of shaping minds, inspiring generations, and contributing meaningfully to societal development. In addition, it promises relative job security, continuous intellectual engagement, and, to some extent, a manageable work-life balance. However, despite these apparent benefits, a note of caution is necessary when embracing the teaching profession, particularly within the Nigerian context. Particularly, despite its inherent nobility, teaching in Nigeria has suffered prolonged neglect and sustained professional degradation, rather being celebrated as a calling that demands intellectual excellence. It has regrettably been reduced to a refuge of mediocrity. Consequently, financial rewards remain meager, professional motivation is persistently low, and social esteem is painfully limited. Ironically, although all these professions, like medicine, law, engineering, and indeed many others, are products of teaching, the profession itself has been relegated to the margins of national relevance. In some quarters, it is even dismissed as a last resort for those perceived to have failed elsewhere. Unsurprisingly, my educational journey was far from smooth. On the contrary, it was characterized by instability, frequent school transfer, and repeated academic challenges. Most ironically of all, I struggled to secure a credit pass in ordinary level English, the very discipline that will later define my academic identity. At a critical point, I withdrew from formal education altogether to a machine operator in my uncle's embroidery business. Although ugly, these experiences proved to be profoundly formative. Eventually, however, a decisive turn point emerged with my admission to Crusade College of Education, followed subsequently by any progression to the University of Calabar, where I studied English and Literary Studies. During this phase, my intellectual orientation began to crystallize. Gradually, I came to see language not merely as a school subject, but as a powerful instrument of meaning and identity. Yet, as destiny so often reminds us, human disposes, but life disposes. In spite of all my efforts to evade teaching, I found myself drawn into the profession. Today, therefore, by divine grace and sustained scholarly labor, I stand before you today not merely as a teacher, but as a professor of language education and applied linguistics. My journey has thus been one of profound transformation, from reluctance to fulfillment, from obscurity to recognition, from embroidery machine operator to teacher of teachers. By God's grace, I have also recorded several notable milestones within my department and the university. To begin with, I became the first substantive head of Department of English Studies. Furthermore, I am the first professor of language education produced by the department and the university. Also, the first alumnus of the department to rise to the rank of professor within the same academic oath. Most remarkably, I supervised the first ever PhD graduate in the department and in the entire College of Humanities, a landmark achievement in our institutional history. However, this lecture is not and must not be a celebration of personal achievement. Rather, it serves as a platform for scholarly intervention. I am proud to be a professor, not because the profession guarantees material wealth, which in our context remain elusive, but because it confers dignity, relevance, and the real opportunity to shape lives. At the same time, this limitation compels us to critically think the orientation and future of language education. Accordingly, this lecture challenges the deeply enriched belief that teaching is the sole pathway for graduates of language education. Empirical evidence from the work of Ajiboye 2023, Mabekoje 2023, Fakeye 2022, Ezeokoye 2022, clearly demonstrate that language graduates need not be unemployed, redundant, or permanently confined to the classroom. On the contrary, language education must be deliberately repositioned as a gateway to diverse language-driven careers. To our students, therefore, especially those apprehensive about teaching, this lecture offers both reassurance and direction. The future of language education clearly extends beyond the traditional classrooms. Language skills are transferable, marketable, and indispensable in our increasingly globalized world. Unlike one generation, you now stand at the threshold of limitless possibilities. I want you to recognize them, embrace them, and prepare boldly for them. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, language education must no longer be perceived merely as grammar instruction or as pedagogical routine. According to Analogy 2021, it should be understood as a strategic resource for national development and individual empowerment. It opens doors, yields bridges, and shapes fusion. Therefore, as scholars, administrators, and policymakers, we must collectively redefine its scope, expand its horizon, and deliberately align it with the reality of the 21st century workplace. Together, then, let us liberate language education from restrictive tradition and boldly reposition it as a catalyst for innovation, relevance, and meaningful, sustainable careers. My first question, sir, allow me to introduce this session by asking this pertinent question. Why is it necessary to rethink the scope of language education? First, long-time professionals, particularly language teachers, often experience fluctuating motivation. Therefore, introducing variety, professional reinvention, and career diversification becomes essential for sustaining passion and relevance in the rapidly changing educational landscape. Furthermore, in Nigeria and across the globe, rising unemployment has exposed significant challenges for language education graduates, including career limited visibility. Consequently, the traditional classroom-oriented model of language education is increasingly inadequate, highlighting the need to reimagine discipline so graduates are prepared for diverse, non-teaching, language-driven careers. In the light of this, ladies and gentlemen, refining language education involves integrating linguistic competence with industry-aligned career-specific skills, thereby enhancing employability and positioning language graduates as valuable assets across multiple sectors.
Moreover, a thoughtfully redesigned language curriculum cultivates critical thinking, persuasive communication, cultural intelligence, and problem-solving skills that are indispensable in fields such as communication, media, diplomacy, entrepreneurship, and public relations. Ultimately, this lecture advocates for a transformative shift from Chalkboard confinement to communication catalyst, empowering language graduates to shape narratives, drive innovation, and thrive in an interconnected, rapid evolving global world. My Vice Chancellor, sir, ladies and gentlemen, now it is pertinent to exploit the scope and significance of language education. To start with, language education is a multidisciplinary and dynamic field concerned not only with language teaching, but language assessment, but also with the social, cultural, acquired, and used. Its importance lies in the far-reaching impact of global communication, cultural understanding, cognitive development, social mobility, and economic growth in an increasingly interconnected world. Nevertheless, traditional and examination-driven approaches, particularly grammar-focused and native speaker-oriented models, have often restricted learners' communicative competence and employability, especially in higher education contexts such as Nigeria. Therefore, contemporary language education calls for learner-oriented, context-sensitive, and technologically informed pedagogies, ensuring that curricular assessment and instruction align with the societal, professional, and global demands. My Chancellor, sir, it is time to focus on Nigerian context. What are the challenges and boundaries of language education in Nigeria? To begin with, in Nigeria, the scope and boundaries of language education are constrained in diversity, making educational policies, limited resources, and assessment practices that often fail to capture authentic language use. Moreover, these limitations are compounded by the issues of power, culture, and standardization, which can marginalize local languages and dialects, while privileging narrow, examination-driven, and native speaker-oriented models. In addition, these are persistent tendency to equate language education solely with teacher preparation, thereby restricting career possibility and overlooking learners' broader communicative, cultural, and professional needs. Consequently, this lecture advocates a holistic and inclusive redefining of language education, one that embraces interdisciplinary cultural competence and diverse language-driven career pathway beyond the classroom. permit me to examine why English has become a cornerstone of global communication and personal development. To begin with, in today's interconnected world, English language, with over 1.7 billion speakers and widespread use across more than a quarter of the world countries. Furthermore, as the dominant language of international business, science and technology, finances, tourism, and diplomacy, English functions as a global lingua franca that facilitates cross-border communication and collaboration. Consequently, the feasibility and global relevance of English position it as a powerful enabler of language-driven careers, personal growth, and meaningful participation in an increasingly globalized world. My Vice Chancellor, sir. Identified more than 100 language-driven or language-related careers, which have been classified into various strata. First, in translation and interpretation, language can work as a translator, interpreters, literary translation, or even specialized roles such as sign language and conference interpreters, thereby bridging communication across language and culture. Similarly, language teaching and training offer opportunities as teachers, tutors, coaches, or cross-cultural trainers, extending language expertise into education and professional development. Moving on, writing, editing, and publishing, another strata, enables graduates to become copywriters, technical writers, editors, poets, or speech writers, combining linguistic precision with creative expression. At the same time, careers in media, communication, and broadcasting, which include radio, television, public relations, audiovisual scripting, showcase the power of language in mass communication. In addition, corporate communication and customer support. This includes language graduates to work as multilingual customer service specialists, corporate communication officers, or information managers, linking language proficiency with business outcomes. For those drawn to research and academia, careers span applied linguistics, social linguistics, language policy advising, language testing, highlighting the scholarly application of language skills. Moreover, the intersection of language and technology are seen in computational and language technology, create roles like computational linguist and others. Meanwhile, creative and cultural industry, government, policy, international relations, international business, they demonstrate how language expertise drive policy, diplomacy, cultural programming, global content management, and international brand strategies. Furthermore, graduates can pursue careers in education support and program management, legal and administrative roles, entrepreneurship, and freelancing, applying their skills to curriculum development, legal interpretation, language consulting, and independent creative ventures. Finally, in travel, tourism, and hospitality, language graduates enhances global experiences as tour guides, travel agents, flight attendants, hospitality coordinators, and destination marketers. Taken together, these categories illustrate that language education is not confined to the classroom. Rather, it opens doors to hundreds of professional opportunities across sectors. Ladies and gentlemen, how can we now transform language education for language-driven careers? To begin with, a nation's capacity to harness technological advancement is closely tied to the quality and relevance of its university education, as knowledge and intellectual skills remain central to economic development. However, in Nigeria, a troubling paradox persists, whereby university graduates often remain unemployed for years, forcing many into menial jobs unrelated to their qualification. This situation arises partly because universities produce large number of graduates who lack market relevant skills, largely due to outdated and theory-heavy curricula. Therefore, contemporary realities demand a skill-oriented education system, as obsolete curricula neither meet current organizational needs or prepare graduates with future challenges. Within this context, language education has remained particularly restrictive, historically oriented towards teacher education, and thereby limiting graduate careers prospects. Yet, language education possesses far greater potential, which can be unlocked through curriculum reform that foregrounds language-driven careers beyond the classroom. For instance, a transformative curriculum will equip students for diverse professional role in corporate communication, content creation, editing, publishing, digital media, and related fields. As a result, such a redefinition will produce graduates who are not only educators, but also versatile communicators, writers, editors, and cultural mediators. Moreover, embedding practical training, interdisciplinary learning, and industrial partnership will align language education with labor market demands and enhance graduate employability. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir. Then, what kind of language education truly prepares our graduates, not merely as teachers, but to lead, to negotiate, to innovate, and compete in a rapidly evolving global marketplace. In the pamphlet, I have listed carefully some courses that can be introduced into the existing language education curricula that can bring in communication professional studies. Some of the courses include business communication and presentation skills, English for banking and finance, language for advertising, English for publishing, English for engineering and technology, English for customer service, English for social media management, English for marketing and sales, English for financial services, English for retail management, medical and healthcare, English for information technology, language for aviation communication, language for diplomacy, among others. You only need to infuse these courses into the existing language education program in order to make it real. My Vice Chancellor, sir, ladies and gentlemen, having explored the structure and components of the transformed curriculum, you may now wonder what formal recognition will students receive upon completion. Upon successful completion of this reimagined curriculum, students will be awarded a Bachelor's of Art degree in English language education and Professional Communication Studies, BA in English and Professional Communication. This certificate not only signifies academic achievement, but also validates the practical, industry-aligned skills and competencies acquired through the program. My Vice Chancellor, sir, ladies and gentlemen, the next focus is on actionable recommendation that can transform this vision into reality. To begin with, the reimagined model of language education proposed in this lecture should serve as a template for all programs, shifting the focus from traditional teacher preparation to versatile real-world language applications. In addition, curriculum must emphasize communication skills, critical thinking, problem solving, and practical competencies to prepare students for diverse careers beyond the classroom. Furthermore, continuous professional development for educators, coupled with interdisciplinary programs integrating language studies with fields such as businesses, law, and technology, is essential to strengthen both instruction and student readiness. Equally important, collaboration among government, industry, educators, and students should foster to align this language education with workforce demands. Finally, national policies, research centers, funding initiatives, and robust monitoring frameworks to support multilingualism, curriculum innovation, evidence-based practices, and the development of essential soft skills, ensuring that language graduates thrive in limitless language-driven careers. A call for action. It is time to move from vision to decisive action. First and foremost, all stakeholders, including policymakers, educators, curriculum designers, and industry leaders, must urgently embrace the reimagined model of language education to equip students with the skills and competencies needed for the diverse language-driven careers beyond the traditional classroom. Moreover, by institutionalizing this transformative approach, one can break free from outdated and restrictive curricula. Conclusion. To begin with, this lecture calls for a fundamental reimagining of language education and moving beyond traditional classroom confinement to unlock the full potential of language-driven careers. Ultimately, the fertilized language education offers a powerful tools to address graduate unemployment, foster global engagement, and transform lives and industry. I wish to begin my profound appreciation and steadfast support of university management, ably led by the acting Vice Chancellor Professor Adekunle Adeogun, whose visionary leadership and unwavering commitment have continued to foster a conducive, peaceful, and intentionally enabling environment. In the same spirit, I respectfully acknowledge the distinguished presence of the Deputy Vice Chancellor, Professor Rotimi Olatunji, my good friend and meticulous custodian of our administrative process, the registrar, Ajiroba Sunday Lapoke, the ever resourceful university librarian, Professor Adekunle Wale, the bossa, Mr. Kabiru Oguneye, for your collective leadership, moral support, and dedication to your work. I want to use this opportunity to humbly greet the royal fathers in absentia, but I believe that they will be here any moment from now. His Royal Highnesses Oba Abdulrasaq Additional Adenuga, the Ibumawe of Agbowoye, is on his way. Oba Adeleke Adekoya, the Bijeroku of Ukabo, will soon join us. His Royal Highness Oba Isaka Ajede, Ogiwadabo Akin Lodo, His Royal Highness Oba Taputi Omonidi, Alademeta One, Onimope of Imope, and His Royal Highness Oba Kosi Salami, Shadirene of Ishoyi. In absentia too, I acknowledge Senator Ladeko Mustafa, the Ashwaji of Debubo and former distinguished senator of Ogun East Senatorial District. I, in the same vein, greet our former Vice Chancellor of the University and the current Ogun State Commissioner of Education, Science and Technology, Professor Abayomi Adibabu. I hope he will soon join us. Because of my time frame, I want to appreciate the presence of all academic and non-academic staff of College of Humanities, particularly my home department, Department of English Studies. I thank you for your collective and continued support that you have given this my inaugural lecture. I use our dean, Professor Abiodun Olaluwa Banjo, to thank everybody for coming. I have endeavored to list out all the names in the pamphlet. Please, you will see it there. Because of the time, I will not have the time to read out the name. In the same vein, I want to acknowledge, do not hear the former VC of the university, Professor Mabekoje, who is not yet here. Also, the church leaders that are here, particularly the African church members. I also want to appreciate His Eminence, the President of the African Church, His Eminence Augustine Afenadi Odufuwa, who is not yet here, but I have in our presence His Grace, the Most Reverend Samuel Ola Ajayi, who is the Provincial Archbishop of Ijebu Province. My bishop, sir, and the stand up for the foundation. In the same vein, we have the Most Reverend Dr. Gabriel Adebanjo, who is the diocesan of Ijebu North Diocese of African Church. I also recognize the presence of our Bishop, Bishop Odumika. Thank you for coming. I want to appreciate the coming of all the provincial and the assistant members of the African Church here present. If you are here, just wave your hands. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you. Permit me to acknowledge the presence of the Vice Chancellor of Southwestern University of Mwa, the person of Professor Shewu Motayo. Thanks for coming. Also, we don't have other head of institutions here, so I won't want to waste our time. My friends from the University of Ibadan, Professor Shegun Adiboye, Professor Francis Eseokole. If you are here, just wave your hands. Professor Fakeye, Maxwell Ararowe, Dr. Efin Ayede, and others. Thank you for coming. But I have seen Dr. Emo Oshibomaya, the director of our Center of National Open University of Nigeria. Madam, where are you? Thank you. Thank you. Permit me to one day great and acknowledge the presence of members of the Liberating Club 1991 here today. It is a great joy to have with us the president of our prestigious club, Mr. Odede Safeyidu. Please let us see you. Not around. Alongside the executive team of University Dr. Nicola Daniels, Barrister Adibo Adeojiri, and others. I greet you. I have seen Dr. Tuji Daudu somewhere. Thank you, sir, for coming. Engineer Adioke, Dr. Titus Ekutayo. I see Poduga. Yes, I can see you. At the back, and others. Permit me, I've already acknowledged your presence in the pamphlet. Just go through, you will see them here. I have a limited time. I am equally delighted to have in the presence of all students here present, led by my good friend, Otumba Wale Balogun. If you are here with your team, please stand up for the recognition. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Please, Tony Taiwo, Architect Kunle Dinod. Okay, thank you. I know Dakobanjo. Okay, I know the reason why you want to make it. And others. Permit me to also extend my heartfelt appreciation to my in-laws, the Okuba family. Can you please rise up for the recognition? The Shotumini, Tomawales, Quadri, nursing family, and Uduleye. And I have here the presence of Dr. Ademola Olajire, Director of Media and Communication, Nigerian Football Federation. Thank you for coming. I wish to sincerely appreciate the support and presence of my family members here. Our mother, Mrs. Modupe Odushorte, Mrs. Olawu Olayinka Odukoya, Mrs. Olabisi Bishano Olodemure, they rise for recognition, and Doctor and Evangelist Olatunde Mabekoje. My brother, thank you. And I have the singular honor to work in our midst, my immediate elder brother, Honorable Justice and Mrs. Olaiwaju Mabekoje. Thank you for coming. Apostle Anolani Mabekoje, Professor Olayede Mabekoje, Dr. Oluwatoyin Mabekoje, just give, and then Pastor Olayekan Mabekoje. My cousins that are here, thank you for coming. My immediate family, I want to appreciate your coming. The mother of my children, and so much, Gege, Omotaje, stand up for the competition. All my children stand up. The guests, Kire, brother, everything. Thank you very much. Okay? The acting Vice Secretary, sir, I have specifically proposed this instruction. Remember this particular song? Blessed assurance, Jesus is fine. I tailored the lyrics of my hymn towards this one. This is a very popular thing. Blessed assurance, not the team. Kindly turn to page 71. Sing only the first stanza and the last stanza because of time. From Chalkboard, wishing the face of melodies. This is our one day. And recently, their voices belong. This is a holy sound. And my voices, the last verse, the last verse, the last verse. Let us arise, O beloved, let me find our way through what I face. A new horizon, stand again. This is our this is our This is my story, this is my song.
Please be seated. Please be
Vice
seated.
Chancellor, Principal Officers of
Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, permit me to quickly recognize some of our important guests and visitors to this university on this special event of the 38th inaugural lecture just delivered by Professor Mabekoje. We especially welcome members of the Governing Council of this university, members of the University Senate, Professor Sheun Omotayo, the Vice Chancellor of Southwestern University. We welcome you. We thank you for coming. Honorable Justice Olanrewaju Mabekoje. Thank you, sir. Dr. Oluwatoyin Mabekoje Oyesanya. Please, you are here, just wave your hand. Let's see you. Oh, thank you, madam. Most Reverend Dr. Gabriel Taiwo Adebanjo, the Archbishop of African Church, Ijebu North Diocese. You're welcome, sir. Archbishop Ijebu Province. Welcome, sir. Thank you. Right Reverend M.K. Oluyinka, Bishop and Provost of the Cathedral of St. John Okeagbo, Ijebugo. Thank you very much, sir. Dr. Ademola Olajire, Director of Communication, Nigerian Football Federation. Thank you, sir. Members of Ijebu-Ode Club, Ijebu-Ode, please, okay, thank you very much. You're welcome. And Elder Olufemi Timothy. And special recognition to the Madam of the House, Mrs. Oluwafumito Mabekoje. Yeah, we appreciate you. And Jadesola Mabekoje, Olajide Mabekoje, Olamijire Mabekoje, and Oluwateniola Mabekoje. All of you, we thank you, we welcome you, we appreciate you for coming. Sir Vice Chancellor, sir, we have just come to the end of the program. I want to invite you once again to step forward to declare this ceremony closed. Sir Vice Chancellor.
The Deputy Vice Chancellor, the University Registrar, University Bursar, and University Librarian, the Dean Kuhu. Today, Professor Laiton Layemi Mabekoje has successfully delivered his 38th inaugural lecture. Is hereby discharged and acquitted. I, Professor Adekunle Olanrewaju Adegun, hereby declare today's inaugural lecture closed.
Ẹ̀kọ́ dára púpọ̀, ẹ̀kọ́ ló láyé táwa yìí sẹ́. Ẹ̀kọ́ dára púpọ̀, ẹ̀kọ́ ló láyé táwa yìí sẹ́. Ẹ̀kọ́ ló ń gbé ní dẹni gíga, ẹ̀kọ́ ló ń gbé ní dépò.